What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you want to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
But let's talk about that over lunch, alright?
That finally inspired him to pick up his chopsticks.
This is okay for me to eat?
Of course. I had them whip up something Japanese for you.
Sushi and tempura were on the menu today. They had wowed Hinata earlier, and I thought Masayuki would be just as grateful. He hadn't been part of our pre-festival banquet, so I was sure it'd be the first time he'd seen sushi in years.
This isn't like my last meal before my execution, is it?
No, you seem sensible. We're from the same place. I just want to be friends with you.
Seeing this spread must have given him the completely wrong idea. Maybe he thought this was the last meal he'd eat in his whole life. I told him I was from Japan, but he still doubted me.
Well, alright.
He finally took a bite, and the moment he did, he fell silent. His eyes looked different now, and his chopsticks and his mouth sprang into motion. He was so focused on his meal that it didn't seem like the right time to start talking, so I waited until he was done. And the moment he was,
Alright, Satoru, Rimuru, I'll gladly become your servant.
I had no idea where this came from. I could tell he was starving for good Japanese food, but I hadn't even said anything yet. Besides, he must have had his own thoughts about me.
Servant?
No, it's fine. I don't have anything keeping me from abandoning this hero crap. It's just embarrassing when they do that, Masayuki chant, and really, I've been constantly trying to figure out how to escape from all this.
This sounded like the real Masayuki here. And as I enjoyed some post-meal tea, I let him tell me his story. Masayuki was a pretty smart kid in his old world, going to a high school that put most of its grads into college. He liked reading manga and light novels, something he kept a secret, and he complained to me about how it must have led to this for him.
My skill's called Chosen One, you know? It's just so stupid.
He'd wanted to be a hero, and as he saw it, that's why he wound up here. And his skill, Chosen One, was about what I figured it was. It let him naturally guide the thoughts of those around him, almost like brainwashing, and that's what brought him to Hero Dom. This ability was beyond his control, he couldn't turn it off even if he wanted to. That's not too user-friendly, or maybe it's a little too much so.
Maybe it is, but that doesn't mean it's not incredible. You would have won the championship if you didn't bow out.
The tournament was ample proof that this skill worked. Victory was his if he wanted it.
Yeah, but it's only caused me trouble. I do nothing, and people just make all these assumptions about me. That was the whole way I won over in Anglacia, too.
As he put it, he let that get to his head. Even with his efforts crushing the Orthrus crime ring, he didn't actually do anything, people just treated him like a king. He could completely give up and things still worked out his way, so life was generally pretty easy for him. The experience at this tournament, though, made him realize that if this ever failed, even once, it'd end his life. That was why he'd decided it was time for a reality check, and I thought he was right. But would Chosen One affect me?
Understood. Against ultimate skills, nearly all lower-level skills are cancelled.
So it doesn't affect me. Good. Because I intended to go easy on him anyway, but I didn't realize he was a complete amateur in battle. I bet even a quick jab from me would be disastrous.
Well, you made the right choice, and probably at the last moment possible. I think you should be proud of that.
You think? But Datta transformed into that terrifying thing and, I didn't need brains to realize I could never beat him.
I wasn't so sure about that, actually, a pretty decent chunk of people were taking Datta on regularly. But yeah, Masayuki did the right thing. So we chatted some more, giving each other our stories and backgrounds. For the most part, though, I just gave a quick rundown of my life, spending more time listening to Masayuki talk. His friends worshipped him like a god, so he couldn't really speak frankly with them. He had nobody to vent to except Yuki, and his busy schedule made it difficult to meet up. It made the stress and irritation accumulate. Basically, he revealed everything about himself to me, without me having to ask any questions.
Well, I'd like to hear more from you, but my lunch break is just about over. So let me ask you this. What are you going to do now?
How do you mean?
You promised Bovix a rematch, right? Are you gonna tackle the dungeon?
I
guess Masayuki had forgotten all about it. He must have been planning to promptly skip town.
Well, what should I do?
Don't worry. Bovix is only guarding the area around floor 50, and the dungeon's super huge, so it's gonna take a few days just to make it that far.
Oh, So if I pretend to tackle it, I'll make it through today, at least.
Exactly. And all the dignitaries here right now are gonna leave town tomorrow.
The festival ran for 3 days. The highways were going to be packed with people tomorrow, so we'd mainly be working to keep traffic smooth. The real cleanup work wouldn't start for 2 days, once all the visitors were gone. The big dungeon opening today was mainly a demonstration for the royalty and nobility in town. A pre-unveiling, really, or a temporary opening until it began normal operation. Thus, I didn't think anyone would go more than a few floors down in the several hours it was open today. Besides, I also had an idea about that battle between Masayuki and Bovix. Not to disappoint him, but I didn't want Masayuki to get defeated. Since I had him here and all, I wanted him to function like a living, breathing billboard for me, leading the dungeon-conquering adventurers down and getting them enthused about tackling the challenge.
So I'd like you to grab people's attention for me, but do you think you can do that?
Wow, that's pretty reassuring to hear. That's why you gave Jinrai all that great equipment, huh? And personally, if screwing up in there won't kill me, I can tackle the labyrinth worry-free. It sounds perfect.
He gladly pledged his support. I'd meant nothing of the sort with Jinrei's gift, but that certainly worked out well, too. Going into the dungeon de facto topless was just asking to be killed.
And I'll be glad to leak some hints about conquering the dungeon, too. If you can use them to get down pretty far for me, that'd be great. Also, if you see anything you think we could improve, don't be shy about telling me.
I wouldn't offer any help going beyond floor 50. We wanted to keep things on the up and up here, so I advised him to keep that in mind. But even there, he'd never die as long as he held on to his resurrection bracelet, so it was all good.
Sounds great. I feel like I'm beta testing a game or something.
Aw, now that you mention it, it is kinda like that. But no need to knock yourself out today. Try to reach, like, floor 5 or thereabouts.
A game, huh? That's an interesting observation to make.
All right.
Masayuki said with a refreshing smile.
I'm glad we got to talk to each other, Rimuru. It's really put my mind at ease. Now I'm starting to think this world isn't so bad after all.
His skill had made things pretty easy for him before now, but he was still anxious a lot of the time. Having someone pledge their support for him must have eased his worries. That, and our nation was at the cutting edge of technology in this world. Our baths and toilets made our accommodations far better than anywhere else, and the variety and quality of the food here must have surprised him, too.
We have that orchestra, and we're teaching painting to people. Pretty soon, I plan to get some theater productions going. I want to have fun here, and I'm not gonna skimp on investing in that stuff.
I really respect you, Rimuru. What about manga?
Of course we'll have manga, Masayuki. That's a longer way away, but nobody else is gonna do it, so?
Whoa, I'll follow you wherever you go, Rimuru.
And so Masayuki decided to remain in town for the time being. I planned to stay in close touch with him, passing on information and such. Hopefully we could have these talks regularly. I wanted to kick back and ask him about our old world, too. It'd be a nice nostalgia trip. That, and I wanted to prod his memory for manga. He was keenly curious about my collection, and I definitely hoped to stay on good terms with him. Now I had a new friend. Our dungeon was finally slated to open this afternoon, and I decided to perform one last check beforehand, just in case. Heading down to the open area at the bottommost floor, I was greeted by Ramirez, who came flying right up to me.
We're just about to open things up, but how's it all going?
Ha, who do you think I am, ha?
She certainly sounded confident, and Veldora, lumbering out from his room, seemed pretty proud of himself, too.
Fear not, Rimuru. We have overlooked nothing.
Oh, I was suddenly very worried.
Whoa, are you sure about that? I don't want you guys doing anything stupid during the unveiling today, okay?
No worries, just leave it all to us. I activated every safety feature.
But starting tomorrow, the labyrinth will bear its fangs.
Ramirez and Veldora looked at each other and sneered. Were they really gonna be okay? Because they weren't assuaging my fears at all.
I'm gonna say this just in case you forgot, but we're closing the labyrinth right after this, okay?
What?
Why was Veldora saying, what, to me? I'd told him as much several times before, but I suppose he wasn't listening. After seeing how today turned out, I wanted to fine-tune the labyrinth's difficulty levels. Thus, my plan was to close things up for 2 or 3 days, then reopen after that. We also hadn't worked out admission prices yet, and we needed trained personnel in place to sell the labyrinth cards, i.e. the tickets, and other items. We didn't have the free time or people for that so far, but I wanted to talk it over with Myeolmile after we finished the post-festival cleanup. Looking back, maybe it was a mistake to leave the final details to this pair. I mean, Ramirez and Veldora looked like they were having fun, and I was busy anyway, but man, they were paying no attention at our meetings. But I didn't want to yell at them, either. Everyone was a little flustered right now.
Calm down, okay? I'll do my best to get us officially open as soon as possible, so just sit tight until then.
Okay.
I will trust in you, Rimuru.
Great. That ought to get us through today. Oh, but I almost forgot. I had something extremely important to ask.
By the way, is Milam in here?
She is.
Yep. She took 2 unlimited-use resurrection bracelets from us and ran off.
And I gave her control over floors 96 to 99, right? The dragon chambers with the elemental effect floors and everything?
That's right. She has been putting a great deal of work into them.
She sure has. And she even gave me the rights to the dragons she caught for those floors. She said that if we raise them right and they evolve into dragon lords, they'll be intelligent enough to understand my commands.
Ramirez was all smiles. I guess, in her mind, even Milam had some good facets to her. The sight of Milam flying through the air, carrying captured dragons in her arms, must have given anyone who saw her quite a shock. Apparently, we'd received complaints about it the first 2 times, but people got used to it from the 3rd time onward. I guess our town's residents just accepted it as normal. Milam had found for us 4 dragons in all, a fire dragon, frost dragon, wind dragon, and earth dragon. These were elemental archdragons, just as Milam had promised us, and even now they were about as intelligent as your typical farm animal. Give them care like you would any pet, and it'd be possible to connect with them.
Did you put collars on them or anything?
For now, yes. These are my beloved servants, so I want to be darn sure we set up a clear master and servant relationship.
I see. Ramirez was certainly thinking deeply about this, and what I heard sounded good enough to me.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. Shoutout to CJ Pabera, Mark Manalo, Wobbalabadubdub, Jason Kenji, Glenn Crisel Abal, Nick Love Movies, Arizona, Tatsumi, Mars Bull, and last but not least, shoutout to Eamon Freya. I'll see you guys in the next video.